Hey guys, this is MC here, and today for Web3 Talks, I have a special friend who is a co-founder of Coffee and Crypto along with me. And the reason we are here is to talk about Zilliqa. So not many people know about Zilliqa. So before we dive in a little deeper to learn about what Zilliqa is all about, my main man, please introduce yourself.
Yeah, sure, Marcus. My name is Anton. I'm head of product at Zilliqa. I joined Zilliqa a little over a year ago, so it's a pretty new product for me and project and the team overall. And as you mentioned, we grow this Web3 community through Dubai as well, all together. Several of us built those weekly meetups called Coffee with Crypto. So if you're in Dubai, if you somewhere around and want to hang out with Web3 crowd, so you can easily come there and to be the part of the community as well.
That's cool, yeah. Thanks for that. Definitely, a lot of people are kind of curious about L1s, L1 blockchain protocols. So the first person that came to mind is you, because I know about Zilliqa, but my audience, they're curious to learn about okay, first of all, what does an L1 blockchain protocol means?
As I said, like Zilliqa is a pretty old layer 1 blockchain. It was born as a team and as a product in National University of Singapore back in 2015.
Oh, wow.
In 2015, there was a major investor event called ICO. Those days we successfully actually secured the proper amount of capital to proceed and to launch, to kick off the network itself. So back in 2018 and 2019, the execution engines and the consensus engines were actually on, and the smart contracts were on as well. So the network started to develop. One of the main feature of Zilliqa was sharding. It was pretty new technology those days. Everybody was on the beginning of the competition to scale Ethereum. Zilliqa was on the side. The goal was not to scale Ethereum, but to build your own layer 1 that would be a direct competitor to the other chains. And the other feature was actually quite unique consensus mechanics. It was a mix of proof of work and proof of stake. Those days were very innovative, top-notch technologies that were up to the market. And but as I said, like the technology developing quite tremendously, and now you need some more to beyond those things that were introduced like almost 5 years ago. You need to go further beyond those to be competitive and to have your share of the market.
No, that's interesting. No, that's pretty cool. Thanks for sharing that. But just correct me wrong. Am I correct to say that Zilliqa, as a blockchain protocol, is the first blockchain protocol based on sharding? So, I don't know did I phrase it correctly, or could you explain? Actually, the reason I bring that up is I heard the word sharding. Could you kind of like break it down just for us, please?
As far as I know, Zilliqa was one of the first networks that introduced in production sharding.
Okay.
Sharding gives you the scalability of your overall blockchain through introducing, let's say, the side shards beside of the core services to produce the blocks and to proceed with the transactions. Those technologies will widely be used through the other chains. So there's like several mechanics how you can scale the blockchain, the layer 1. You can go layer 2, for example, Ethereum, it's Arbitrum, Optimism, and others. ZK on stage now as well. But you also can scale your core chain, your mother chain with the shards. So you can allocate some of the transactions and some of the blocks to shards, and then you can synchronize them within the mother chain to have the security in place to have more cheaper and more scalable transactions. At Zilliqa, so we're about now to introduce the concepts around, as I said, Zilliqa is pretty old chain, how to innovate the network. And we have an idea of Zilliqa 2.0 at the moment. And one of the features of Zilliqa 2.0 is to transform those shards we have now to X chains or X shards. It would be kind of side chains with the bespoke features around. So if you, for example, gaming hub and you need fast and cheap transactions, we can build those functionality for you. You can build it by yourself if you're capable to. Or if, for example, if you're a financial institution and want private transaction, we can put ZK on top, and you will have the selective disclosure, you will have all privacy features around that needed to be on the compliance side of the clients and that the clients
meet the financial privacy laws within your own jurisdiction.
Exactly, and the thing is, like with those shards, that they will share the security with the mother chain. So you don't need to bother with your own set of validators. You don't need to bother about the size of your chain. There will be interchain security in place as well.
Interesting. Okay, that's cool. I was kind of curious to learn, like, you know, to make this whole thing happen with Zilliqa. Now I understand Zilliqa, like we said earlier, it's its own layer 1 protocol. You know, you got it like Ethereum. I think you mentioned. I think Cosmos is also another layer 1. Now, Arbitrum, Optimism, are those L1s or are those L2s? How do you differentiate?
Arbitrum and Optimism are layer 2 of Ethereum.
Gotcha.
As long as some other projects which try to scale up some drawbacks of Ethereum back in the days. Nowadays, when Ethereum switched to proof of stake, some of those drawbacks are gone.
Right.
If they will follow, and I believe they will follow the roadmap quite precisely, they will have sharding as well to scale up and to have more cheaper transactions. So they will upgrade a lot, and by the end of the days, it will be more advanced technology that we have at the moment. Layer 1s and layer 2s, the major distinguish between them are that layer 2s used to have the same security, so they used to rely on security of the mother chain, of L1 chain. And sometimes they even use the same gas, like let's say to proceed with the transaction. So if you layer 2 of Ethereum, you have to burn Ethereum to as a gas. And you need to rely, need to synchronize with the Ethereum chain through some mechanism behind the block production. If you want to build something standing aside, like Zilliqa, for example, you need to have your security and decentralization mechanics in place as well. So you need to have your separate consensus layer, you need to have your separate execution layer, you need to have some capital deployed, and like the if you proof of stake, for example, usually a security is equal to the size of the network. So if you have, you need to have a decent amount of value locked within the validators that actually corresponds to the number of attacks that can be proceeded on the network, and guarantees the security of transactions within transactions of value within the network.
Interesting. But all this, like to create, I guess, you know, to make this thing happen with Zilliqa, I'm under the understanding that Zilliqa has its own language, kind of like Ethereum. Ethereum has Solidity, Near uses Rust, and I guess each block, I guess some other block, there's some other, I guess, languages. What is Zilliqa's language? Let's put it.
That's a good one. I think nowadays, even with the more modern networks like Sui and Aptos, for example, and their unique language Move, that's a good comparison. Like Zilliqa was building this some years before. Let's say we have our bespoke language Scila, and smart contracts are written on language Scila, and they executed on Scila virtual machine, which is running on our nodes. And this language is supposed to be, and it is actually quite secure comparing to Solidity, for example, and compared to some other languages that are used across across all blockchains to build them to execute smart contracts. The thing is, if you build a bespoke language, you need to build the whole infrastructure around. You need to build dev tools, you need to build the community.
Right.
And as layer one, we treat that our users are developers. So we target our end users as layer one is teams that we try to encourage to build products. We encourage to build businesses, to integrate blockchain in any ways, and to build their own things, and to run them, to grow, to get the value, to capture the value, and by the end of the day to have some revenue stream. So those teams are treated as the users, and if you have your own bespoke language, you have a learning curve for them. So you need to have a massive capital to bootstrap. Zilliqa fortunately has this kind of capital through the ICO back in 2017. So I have a community of devs using still a language. It's pretty advanced language with the whole proper tooling around. But the last year when I joined was decided actually to expand the execution. And one of the features that we try to achieve at Zilliqa, especially at Zilliqa 2.0, is to have multiple execution engines. We already have EVM. We launched a couple months ago EVM on mainnet.
Okay.
So now you can have, we can fork smart contracts from Ethereum or from any other EVM chain and deploy it directly on Zilliqa.
Nice.
We have some working use cases now, like price oracles, money market protocols coming. And we actually paved the road for the future developers to build their products on EVM. And it's much more easier for us to integrate into other blockchains. Because I guess like for me on the product side, the major problem with Zilliqa, beside the visibility, it's not well known, like across the other blockchains or other layer ones. It wasn't
because I know you guys have a long history in the space, right?
Yeah, so, exactly. But the visibility, it fades. Like you need to bootstrap it all the time. You need to be everywhere, like at the same place, at the same time, and you need to maintain this kind of visibility to attract people. But I guess the major drawback is encapsulation within, especially on the language side. So now when you have more execution engines, you can interact with other protocols. Like if you have your own language, you need to build everything from the scratch, like your ecosystem, your tooling around, so everything, the team, the learning curves, and it's everything from scratch. When you have EVM, and we're supposed to have WASM as well, as it's on a roadmap at the moment, and you have multiple execution, you can integrate into more mature products. Like you can become a part of multi-chain wallets. So for them, it's much more easier, less better, just to add another EVM chain. And you have more users, you have more use cases, you have more transaction passing through. So this is like more target audience. It's easy to acquire new teams rather than having something encapsulated, unique, which no one else use, only your chain. Proceed with this.
Gotcha.
So this was the idea.
That's interesting because you mentioned about like you are connecting different developers, encouraging entrepreneurship businesses. So as a layer one, you're covering basically all kinds of ecosystems, NFTs, the creator economy, DeFi, metaverse, right? And also like social applications or dApps. So because I know you guys are covering all these areas, but before you go, I wanted to ask you, like in terms of what are your favorite, I guess, ecosystems or areas that you want to use Zilliqa in, I guess.
I honestly, as a product, I mostly focus on DeFi and infrastructure. This is my focus. So I would like maybe to more to talk about DeFi, because I honestly believe there's few use cases at the moment as product market fit. Like Bitcoin, for example, the store of value. Obviously has millions of users now, and people believe that Bitcoin is a digital gold that gives them ability to accumulate value through the time, something like with a physical commodity or real estate or whatever. And we probably at the observe the emerging of payment solutions, how people pay with crypto for some things. Maybe there's mass adoption that we're dreaming about is coming through through payments. And the DeFi is the piece of it, like when you can interact with a decentralized protocol to exchange one to another, to bridge liquidity through multiple ecosystems, where you can take a loan and lend some money, where you can buy NFTs in any form of, where you can provide liquidity to multiple things, where you can trade perpetuals, where you can, so it's like the whole use cases within the traditional finance is actually trying to migrate into DeFi. DeFi is very young.
Yeah, true. Agreed, yeah.
There's not so many good products around, there are many hacks, there are many troubles, and my total vision that my attitude and like my vision that I try to bring into Zilliqa is to make Zilliqa more interoperable. We work with many cool products at this stage to bring Zilliqa across other ecosystems and to allow seamlessly user to use products, DeFi especially products, at Zilliqa through the other chains.
That's cool. No, I love that you mentioned about DeFi and infrastructure, because I think there is this big opportunity for a lot of people to get in. And not just institutions, but also, I guess, regular people. I think once they bite the Bitcoin bullet, I guess, and then they enter this rabbit hole. So I think you're right. I think DeFi, there's an incredible opportunity. I guess you mentioned about interoperability. Now, I understand that interoperability, I guess in a simple term, please correct me if I'm wrong, like it's just working with different blockchains, right? Would that be kind of like a simple answer, or should we need to elaborate more?
Usually, you're definitely right. So I think it's like, I think it's a little bit more deeper because like if you have separate chains, for example, you have Ethereum and Zilliqa, chains and they don't know what's happening on the other chain. Like if you try to move some assets from Ethereum to Zilliqa, all the way around, those chains are not composable. So you cannot, you don't have some pre-built functions within them to allow those assets to flow freely around and securely. That's why people try to utilize concepts around bridging, around locking some value on the one chain and minting some new, reflecting this value on the other chain. They have this mint and burn mechanics, and there's a lot of criticism around, and obviously that's a fact that we have so many hacks related to bridges in the past couple of years. Those massive pools within those bridges, that massive value locked is a honeypots for any kind of hacks and for any kind of attacks that can be. So those kind of things need to be omitted by some more advanced technology, some more advanced concepts. And those concepts can be ZK-based bridges, for example. Zero knowledge can be utilized in those. Can be some vehicles like Layer 0, for example, or we're actively working with DeBridge to proceed with a new DLN approach to the bridge liquidity network concepts. So we try to look beyond the concept of bridges mostly. And by the end of the day, I think there would be some concepts around how you can securely not only move assets, but also interact within the several ecosystems through the smart contracts. So you can, for example, build a road and to call smart contract from Ethereum through Zilliqa, from Zilliqa into Ethereum, and have some response back. So you can build more advanced multi-calls through the different ecosystems, and you can do it in a more securely manner. The same comes actually to NFTs, because NFTs are encapsulated in the system. You have NFTs on Solana, you have NFTs on Zilliqa, but you want some time to sell them on OpenSea, for example, Rare, but you need to bridge them somehow as well. And those bridges are very, so all of them are going through whitelisting, all of them are going through some very strict decentralization, to allow your NFTs to flow into other ecosystems.
That's interesting, man. Love to have this conversation more on intro, because it's one of the main concerns or highlights in our space, right? Interoperability, scalability, security, and I know, like, as a L1, you guys are covering all kinds of stuff. We'd love to dive in more deep, but if our audience here for the Web3 Talks, if they want to learn more about Zilliqa, where can they find you? Where can they learn more about Zilliqa and also yourself too?
Zilliqa have social media channels running through Discord, through classical website, through Telegram, through Twitter. We also participate in many events through the year, Ethereum events as well. Was Ethereum Shanghai, was Consensus, it was it's going to be Token 2049, it will be Ethereum Singapore, and many other events, Ethereum Vietnam. So try to be closer to Ethereum community, as we are EVM compatible now, and try to interact and to bring more teams to plug Zilliqa into EVM chain ecosystems. You can come to Coffee Crypto in Dubai if you're and you can meet in person over there. I guess, like, for me personally, Zilliqa, as I probably need to stress, is a brand new team, like all around the whole ecosystem. At the moment, like the core team, the CEO, the CTO, the marketing teams and business development teams, it's pretty new, and I believe that Zilliqa will be one of the top-notch in terms of technology, in terms of products, in terms of tech that would be built on top of it in the coming few years, especially with a very capable brand new team and with the talented people around. It can be achieved, I guess, in a quite elegant manner, to especially taking into account that we already have community. We don't need to bootstrap as many other chains, everything from scratch. So we have some lessons learned. We have cool products. We have great products. We have failed products. We have some concepts that working very well. Some of them failed. So it just you don't need to stop. You just need to continue building, and you need to be into the ecosystem, into people, into
Sure. No, definitely we'll share some links in the description below, as always. But yeah, hey Anton, thank you so much for your time. It's great to connect with actually one of the one of the older, layer ones who have been in the space for quite some time. So definitely a lot of great history, and you guys are really moving forward. So anyways, fam, we gotta go. So y'all be good, y'all be safe. We'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.